Radio is broadcast on LSL Podcast Channel. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the channel.
Let not your heart be troubled. You are listening to the Sean Hannity Radio Show podcast. All right, so I have insomnia, but I've never slept better. And what's changed? Just a pillow. It's had such a positive impact on my life. And, of course, I'm talking about MyPillow. I fall asleep faster, I stay asleep longer, and now you can, too. Just go to MyPillow.com or call 800-919-6090. Use the promo code Hannity, and Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, has the special 4-pack. Now, you get 40% off 2 MyPillow Premiums and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. Now, MyPillow is made here in the USA, has a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee, and a 10-year warranty. Go to MyPillow.com right now or call 800-919-6090, promo code Hannity, to get Mike Lindell's special 4-pack offer. You get 2 MyPillow premium pillows and 2 Go Anywhere pillows for 40% off. And that means once those pillows arrive, you start getting the kind of peaceful and restful and comfortable and deep healing and recuperative sleep that you've been craving and you certainly deserve. MyPillow.com, promo code Hannity. You will love this pillow. I'm so excited today because we have NFL Super Bowl champion Burgess Owen is actually coming in studio with us, and he's going to be part of this big debate with the NFL. We've got the Attorney General of the United States, Jeff Sessions, is going to join us. Among other things we'll talk about is the lack of freedom of speech on college campuses, which is different than what happens on a football field. Bill O'Reilly is going to join us today as a preview of tonight's big appearance that he's going to make. I've been reading his book. It's really good. And the thing he said the last time that really stuck with me is that all these people that want to get rid of America's history and America's monuments and America this and America that, and what they really want to do is they want to start over. And they'd love another constitution written in pure modern-day PC liberalism, and that'll make us happy. By the way, we conservatives will do great in that environment. I can tell you right now. So we got that. So much coming up today. 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. The more and more I think about this, I analyze this, I examine this, the more angry I'm just getting. Every day. You know, I think the final thing for me really had to do is, I was thinking about this, and I remember I didn't even mention it yesterday, is go back to the game that took place on Sunday that took place in England. England is now doing NFL games, and they're doing really, really well there. They're certainly doing better with NFL football in Great Britain than they're doing with soccer here in the United States, I'll tell you that. And that's for sure. Anyway, so I'm watching, and I'm like, really? NFL players, you had in this case, the Baltimore Ravens, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they take a knee for the national anthem. They take a knee. But when God Saves the Queen is played, they're up on their feet. I'm like, you cannot make this up at this point. There was a great column that was written today by, what's his name? I think Secretary of State Kobach of Kansas, whatever his name is. And he's the Attorney General of the state of Kansas. And what's so frustrating to me is if you watch anybody else in this corrupt media environment in which we live, you would have no doubt that this is only and solely and from the get-go about race in America. It would have nothing to do with anything else. And when I watched last night, I only watched the beginning, and I actually think the only thing people tuned into the Dallas Cowboys last night and Monday Night Football, I think the only reason they tuned in to see was what are they going to do now, and how bad is this going to get? And I'm not a boycott guy. I mean, there are liberals, liberal groups trying to boycott me. Oh, you can't let Bill O'Reilly talk ever. I'm like, well, excuse me. I let people of all different points of view talk. It's called liberty and freedom. And the people in this country that want to silence opposition voices come solidly from the left. They have no patience, no tolerance for any view that is opposite of their own view. So you've got all these players. It goes viral. And I was disappointed in Jerry Jones last night. All right, now they did stand for the anthem, but they're desperately trying to thread this needle, and they're missing the bigger points here. In that the NFL cannot be this hypocritical and tell people that they can't twerk and tell people that they can't act like they're firing a bow and arrow, which I think is kind of pretty cool when you're in the end zone. Wow. Psh, it's make pretend. It's not a real bow and arrow. There's no bow and arrow, but you can't do that. You can't taunt another player. You can't use abusive language towards a ref or another player or another team. You can't use insulting language. You can't use insulting gestures. And the stuff that Jason told me about yesterday in terms of gestures, I guess, what's his name?
Odell Beckham.
Jr. Yeah, I don't even remember. He played amazing. You see that one-handed catch he made over the weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That was an amazing. Why don't you like Odell Beckham? Because your hair's just like his. You have the same mohawk. I don't get it. I thought you were copying
Mine
him.
looks better, but...
No, yours definitely looks better.
At this point, I used to stand up for him. I'm completely disgusted with him. I mean, he made the gesture that was so bad, Fox wouldn't replay it.
Yeah.
And then after the game, he says, I'm a dog, so I acted like a dog.
But you can't even...
No.
These are all restrictions in the NFL. You've got players... they're not allowed to remove their helmet in the field to play or in the end zone. That's illegal. Players have been fired. I'm sorry, not fired. Fined for wearing special cleats to raise awareness for mental health issues or domestic violence issues, which I thought the NFL cared so much about. Then the league refused to let the player honor his own mother who has breast cancer, a breast cancer survivor, because he wanted to do it the weekend after the October month that they always wear a little bit of pink on their uniforms. You can't do it only on approved days. And then I think the worst thing that they did is when these 5 cops were slaughtered in Dallas during that shooting rampage in 2016, well, the Dallas Cowboys wanted to put a memorial and honor the cops on their helmets. That's illegal. By the way, all violating freedom of speech, isn't it? There wasn't any outrage. There weren't any protests. Where were the so-called displays of unity in this particular case? And I'm not to be cynical here, but the NFL threatened to fine Avery Williams. He's a Titan. He wanted to wear the 9/11/01 cleats. He wanted to put it on his cleats. How many people are going to hone in on a guy's cleats, for crying out loud, on the 15th anniversary? And he wanted to also put never forget on the 15th anniversary of 9/11 in 2001. And I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. I love RG3. I was him and his injuries was so disappointing. I thought he was one of the greatest potential players ever. But I really loved watching him because I thought he was going to emerge as one of the best NFL quarterbacks anyway. And it wasn't meant to be. And he got a lot of injuries. Anyway, remember he got in trouble for wearing a No Jesus, No Peace T-shirt. They made him turn it inside out. And then he got fined $10,000 for wearing a Reebok T-shirt because it's not Nike, and Nike sponsors the NFL. Oh, the shame of it all. He wore a Reebok T-shirt. And then some NFL players got fined for wearing Beats headphones. I don't even know what Beats headphones are. I know my kids have them. That's all I know. But you see, that goes against their other sponsorship, which is Bose headphones and Bose equipment. So that some teams can cheat and try and listen into the signal calling that goes back and forth if they can break the transmission. The NFL, this is all they care about? I'm like, you guys are such phony hypocrites. And I'll tell you, I was yesterday praising Alejandro Villanueva. And now he's saying, I threw my teammates under the bus. I was so disappointed. And now Ben Roethlisberger he's saying, I wish we didn't do it this way. Well, Ben, with all due respect, you had your moment. Everybody knows what's at stake here. Everybody understands the issues here. And now I'm telling you what's happening is let's go to last night, the Dallas Cowboys, arm in arm, Jerry Jones, the whole team. That's a pretty loud boot. I don't hear anyone clapping. Look at what the statement that NASCAR put out. I love this statement. Sports are a unifying influence in our society, bringing people of different backgrounds and beliefs together. Our respect for the national anthem has always been a hallmark of our pre-race events. Thanks to the sacrifices of many, we live in a country of unparalleled freedoms and countless liberties, including the right to peacefully express one's opinion. Okay, but you're part of an organization. an organization that bans a lot of freedom of speech, a ton of freedom of speech. And by the way, on top of the cost, now the average NFL player makes $2.4 million. Some of them go on with long careers and they make millions and millions and millions of dollars. And to the credit of some of the players, they go into the inner cities and their towns and their neighborhoods and they do a lot of good. And I give all those guys credit. And they're role models for people. And some aren't perfect role models either, but no one's perfect. I'm not casting aspersions on the NFL or the players. A lot of these guys are young. A lot of these guys, fall into money. And a lot of these guys have no clue on how to deal with fame and money. It's very difficult. I've always said fame isn't healthy. Having fame and money is dangerous, especially if you don't have good people surrounding you that are helping you out, that don't want to milk you dry. How many times have we heard about really wealthy athletes that end up being broke? It's sad when that happens. Anyway, but you know something? So the average person, the average ticket's just a little under $100. Then you get 4 tickets, a family of 4. And then you pay for parking. And then you pay for, the kids want a jersey. What's that? $100. Then you pay for a couple of beers. And then you pay for a couple of hot dogs. Then you pay for a couple of Cokes. Then the kids want, some cotton candy or popcorn at the game. And then by the time you walk out of there, you spent $700 for a family of 4. And it's the same thing with baseball, and these guys get compensated well. We're watching the best of the best, the most gifted, the most talented. I get it. I'm a capitalist. I'm for it. I pay the money. I've taken my kid to the Super Bowl all these years as his Christmas gift. That's it. My son likes to go to the Super Bowl. He's dying to see the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. That's all he wants to see. His life will be complete if the Cowboys ever make the Super Bowl. But the point is, and we pay more money on top of it. Over the last 20 years, you, the American people, have spent more than $7 billion building or renovating NFL stadiums, and you, the taxpayers, have taken on a whopping 46% of the total cost of those projects. The numbers are staggering. 5 teams have gotten more than $400 million in public funding to build or renovate their stadiums. And I'm not even saying it's necessarily bad, but, the NFL... I get in trouble on TV if, God forbid, I run a clip that I shouldn't have run. They're all over my ass about something like that. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Anyway, $400 million, and I've not been one that's disparaged the NFL. I don't think they fully, completely knew about the dangers of concussions and some of these other issues. I don't think they're responsible because there's a couple of irresponsible players that do things that bring the team into disrepute. I mean, in many cases, their kids just out of college. And as I said, money and fame, it doesn't go well. But anyway, and then I read one story in the Business Insider and the New Jersey Ledger, Star Ledger, where the Pentagon signed contracts with 14 NFL teams. And guess what? They paid 14 NFL teams $5.4 million. You know what for? To salute the troops. Why would we be paying the NFL to salute the troops? Good grief. So it really ticks me off. The whole thing. It's not about race. You know what it's about? It's about respect. It's about respect for your anthem, your country, your flag, and respect for the 650-plus thousand brave Americans who have given their lives in defense of this country, in defense of our Constitution, our freedoms, our liberties, and the justice it all represents. And guess what? You have the right to do whatever you want, but the people have a right to be pissed off too. And that's what's happening. And I don't see a good way out for them at this point. And they keep digging in deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Oh, for now, I'm just a Saturday football guy. I'll watch college football. And if they go this way, I'll just, I don't know, I'll go throw the football around in the backyard and act like I'm Joe Namath. I have no idea. All right, 800-941-SEAN. We're loaded up today. Bill O'Reilly's going to check in with us. He'll be joining us tonight, his first appearance on the Fox News Channel on new time. Set your DVR 9 Eastern tonight. We'll check in with the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, later in the program today. And I'm just so excited. Burgess Owens, he's written this book. And I honestly just got the copy today. I'm like, Linda, why didn't you give me a copy of this? Where have you been? and it's called Liberalism: How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps. I'm like, why have you never given me this book before? I'm not going to put that book down. And why are you looking at me like, oh, it's not my fault. You never take anything that I say seriously.
Just slacking on the job.
Why are you slacking on the job? I mean, I saw him the other day over the weekend. He was amazing on television. So I'm really excited to have him. And why didn't you give me the book sooner?
Well, I was reading it. It's my turn. This is the Sean Hannity show, but sometimes I do things first.
Claiming my time.
By the way, did you see the Sheila Jackson Lee? She got on her knees on the House floor. Now it's everywhere.
She took a knee on the House floor.
And so you cannot abridge by standing up with tweets. And you cannot abridge without law and regulation. And there is no regulation that says that these young men cannot stand against the dishonoring of their mothers by you calling them fire the son of a bee. You tell me which of those children's mothers are a son of a bee. That is racism. You cannot deny it. You cannot run for it. And I kneel in honor of them.
I am going to lay out. I'm not going to do it today on radio because we've done it more on radio than TV. I am going to lay out how in the world of a liberal Democrat, they play the race card so often, so regularly. They actually, I think, believe it. They cannot fathom how many of us feel watching people take a knee and put their fist up as a protest against our flag, our anthem, our country, and those that fought, bled, and died for all our liberties, freedom, our constitutional way of life. They think they can't fathom that we have sincere love and appreciation of this country that transcends any other topic. That's how offbeat their head is.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's sick, and it's getting sicker.
Now, back to the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, 25 till the top of the hour. Toll-free telephone numbers, 800-941-SEAN. You want to be a part of the program. Anthony Weiner is back in the news. And poor Anthony Weiner, he got 21 months in prison. And he was having chats. Do you know that finally it got revealed that this was beyond explicit, and he knew it was a 15-year-old girl? I have no sympathy for him. None. And I'm not sitting here and judge. Leave. How about a simple rule? Leave the children alone. Leave the children alone. How about that? How about a girl's 15 years old? Anyway, so he was standing before the federal judge yesterday, sobbing, facing the sentencing for sexting with a 15-year-old. I focus on how I live my new, smaller, healthier life one day at a time. I was a very sick man for a long time. I have a disease, but no excuse. What does that mean, I have a disease? Is everything a disease? I've never fully, completely, and I want to be very careful with what I'm saying here because I've known too many people that have had real, honest to goodness, legitimate struggling with drugs and alcohol and all sorts of things. I absolutely believe that human beings have a propensity, like, for example, in my family, I have a number of people in my family that were alcoholics. And I believe, yeah, it's real. But here's the thing. If you can stop, it means you never had to get there. Does that make sense? If you can, if a heroin addict can stop after 10 or 15 years, if you survive that long doing that crap, then that means you didn't have to go there in the beginning. So everybody, at the end of the day, if you really take responsibility, we all have choices. But I do get it, under very innocent circumstances. I know people, these doctors will prescribe drugs at like the maximum level every time for a freaking toothache. And then all of a sudden the person takes these pain medicines. I'm scared to death of these things. When doctors and lawyers and professional people, they get addicted to all these narcotics, basically, that they give them. And is it any wonder then they take it away and they're like looking for it wherever they can find it. And physically, the body does become dependent, which is why a lot of people go to rehab. You watch all these shows about addiction and all these young kids getting addicted to heroin now because they find pain pills in grandma or grandpa or mommy or daddy's medicine closet, and then they start taking them and they like them and, oh, I feel great. And then next thing you know, they have a physical addiction to these things. And I believe there's physical. Otherwise, if you're an alcoholic and you go through the DTs, I don't think there's an addiction, though, that it has to be a 15-year-old. He could have, I'm sure there were plenty of 20-year-olds that were available, Anthony. And, it's just sad in the end. I never liked him. Never did. Thought he was obnoxious. I just can't wish it. I know. It's, you know what it is? It's a tragedy. At the end of the day, this is another human tragedy. And I hope that while he's away, I hope he gets the help that he needs so that he doesn't go back to this. But you never know. Why are you looking at me like I shouldn't? You just looking at me with scorn. Why am I getting the contempt hate list back thing?
I don't have a hate list, so I don't know to what you are referring.
You absolutely have a hate list.
I do not, but I think, I have.
You said you're a new person now and you don't have a hate list.
That's right.
You had a hate list a mile long. I could just mention specific names and you bubble and fizz like Alka-Seltzer
in water. By all means,
water.
mention away. Let's bring them on the show. In fact, I'll interview them for you and you can just sit and watch and be entertained.
No, I just know who's on the hate list.
No one.
Okay.
It's empty.
Hate and contempt are the same thing. It's just you found a nicer word for it. I don't hate the way you do. You hate.
I don't have any hate.
No, you do hate. You're lying.
No, I don't.
You're deluding yourself.
I'm not.
But you have a contempt list of people.
I don't even have a contempt list.
When did that go away? Just in the last... Yet. You're building one.
I may
build one.
Depends.
Guess who may be number one on the contempt
You
list?
might be first.
I don't know. Who's going to be number one, Jason? By the way, I'm the one that should have contempt after getting the crap beat out of me by somebody after somebody had one drink.
I have no idea, and it was more than one drink. Give me more credit than that. I'm an Irish woman.
Okay, 2.5 drinks, and watch out. The arms go flying. Bam, bam, bam.
Hey, you've been training with ninjas for a year. You could take care of yourself.
I'm training now 5 days a week, straight on, heads up. I'm going all over the place. By the way, a couple of programming notes. We are headed to Washington, D.C., and we're going to try and hold Washington accountable. And Paul Ryan is going to be on the show. And are we going to get an economic plan done? Do we have any chance to go back to health care? Are we going to fund the wall? What is going to be in this budget that they're releasing? I think they're releasing it finally tomorrow. How consistent is his budget ideas with what the president's budget ideas are? So, and then we're really excited because after we finish tomorrow night, we'll be doing the show from Washington, D.C. Remember our new time, 9 o'clock. Bill O'Reilly's on tonight, Paul Ryan tomorrow night. And we're really excited because he doesn't really like to do a lot of interviews, but he's great on TV, is Rush Limbaugh. And so Rush is coming on the program in our debut week at our new hour, and we're really excited about him joining us. Anyway, do you know Colin Kaepernick never registered to vote? This was in the Washington Times. Surprise, surprise. The great agent of social change and cops depicted as pigs and big supporter of the murdering thug dictator Fidel Castro. Anyway, he's credited by some as the face of this resistance that's going on in the NFL. He's never been registered to vote in any election, according to the Sacramento Bee. And Kaepernick turned 18 in 2005, never registered in his home state of California, Nevada, where he attended the University of Nevada, Reno from 2006 to 2010. And that means he would have missed the presidential elections of Barack Obama in both cases. He openly admitted to reporters that he didn't vote for either Trump or Hillary Clinton because he thought it would be hypocritical of him to submit to an oppressive system. This is where it's all gotten started. And, one thing that we've pointed out on the program, remember we played the tape of Obama, white folks' greed runs a world in need? Nobody ever paid attention to that. Nobody ever paid attention to black liberation theology. It's like we're sitting here as a sole lone voice, frankly, and we get excoriated for it. I mean, we've had more people try to shut down this show and my career on TV in the last couple of years than I thought I'd ever see in a lifetime. And the only reason I'm still behind this microphone is because all of you supporting the show.
It is this world A world where cruise ships throw away more food in a day than most residents of Port-au-Prince see in a year. Where white folks' greed runs a world in need. Apartheid in one hemisphere, apathy in another hemisphere. That's the world on which hope sits.
Now, if you remember, to refresh your memory, that quote is from Obama's first book, Dreams from My Father. It's a chapter where he explains how he joined the Reverend G.D. America, and America's chickens have come home to roost, Reverend Wright, and he reveals that the sermon sealed the deal for him, and it was Wright's Audacity of Hope, which Obama liked so much that he borrowed the title for a second book. And that's where, reading from the sermon Obama found so inspiring, he personally delivers the line. And I guess he didn't know he was running for president at the time. Here's how sad. Do you remember Tim Russett? And what was the name of his book? And he wrote a book about his father. And his father's like a lot of our fathers. And his father, in his particular case, he grew up in Buffalo, New York. And he was the biggest Buffalo Bills fan that you'd ever imagine. And he wrote this book, Big Russ and Me, Father and Son. And I had him on this program. And then he did a follow-up where people wrote him about their fathers. And they really were the greatest generation. And he'd be on, go Bills, go Bills, go Bills. Loved the Buffalo Bills. And I don't know why we became friendly, but we became friendly. And like a couple of months before he had this horrible heart attack, and he'd be so proud of his son, Luke. I don't know him. I don't think he agrees with me politically, but I've seen him. I've talked to him. He's a great kid. He'd be so proud of his son. Anyway, so he writes this book. His father, would remind him as a kid, the men, make sure you wrap that up if you have broken glass, because garbage men pick up bags and they got broken glass in them. They cut themselves wide open. It's a pretty common problem. In New York, it's a bigger problem. You have to kick the bags because 1,000 rats come flying out of it before you pick up the garbage, and you don't want them coming out and jumping on your face. But anyway, here's a story. A longtime employee of the Buffalo Bills had to quit in disgust after watching several teams protest the national anthem. Now, these are the people that make America great, the people that are livid and burning, and we'll show you the videos tonight of people burning their NFL memorabilia and their jerseys that they paid a fortune for. This was a fun part of their lives. Tailgating is fun. Going to a football game is fun. I remember being caught in traffic once up in Buffalo. My kids were playing a tennis tournament up there. And the Buffalo Bills were playing. We got caught right in the middle of traffic. And I'm like calling the tennis director. All right, we're going to be late. How many games are my kids losing? Is it worth it? Should I come? And I just remember it. And people are having a blast. They're happy in traffic. But anyway, this was a stadium worker that worked 3 decades for the NFL. He quit his job on Sunday. Say he was pushed to the limit when Buffalo Bills, several of them, took a knee during the national anthem. And the guy said he's putting the few good years and a lot of the bad ones and a new era field behind him after several Bills took the knee. And I was finally pushed to my limit, and I had to quit. He put on Facebook in response to the Bills' protest. I can't work in a place where millionaires, multimillionaires, cry that they're oppressed. And a lot of people, you look at the price, as I said, of a football game, it's expensive for a lot of people. And I don't think, and it's sort of like, do people even appreciate what does it cost to go to an NBA game and get a decent ticket? I am proud of myself in this sense. And you might say, yeah, right, Hannity. I'm like StubHub's best customer because I refuse to make a phone call even when Fox Sports has the NFL Super Bowl. I don't go calling Fox Sports and saying, could I please have tickets, which I probably could get. I'll never forget the Yankees were playing the World Series one year, and I'm on this radio program, and Randy Levine calls me and said, yeah, I went on StubHub. I got good seats. And, that's when I ran into Keith Olbermann. It was actually fine. And he goes, well, all you had to do was call me. I have access to tickets, and you could just pay face value. I said, I don't want any favors. It ended up that was the same game that the governor of New York, Patterson, got free tickets for and got in so much trouble for. But my attitude is just because my job's public, I'm not any different than anybody else. And I hate people that take advantage of whatever fame they may have. It's kind of gross to me. So I pay for my stupid tickets. Paid for the Super Bowl. Paid a fortune for Super Bowl tickets. Because my son's just not content anymore just to go with his dad. And, now he has to bring Johnny and Tommy and Susie, who doesn't even know what a touchdown is. And, of course, she has to go to the Super Bowl, and A, B, and C has to go to the Super Bowl. It's all right, Dad, right? You can get him a room and everything, right? You can handle that, right, Dad? Please, it's the only gift I want for Christmas. When I buy him on StubHub. And it's expensive. And the NFL is expensive, and the NBA is expensive. Let's get a quick call in here. Let's say hi to Walt in New Jersey. What's up, Walt? How are you?
Good. I have a simple solution to make a statement to the NFL players.
Yeah.
And that would be to go to the game but not wear a player's jersey at all. No sense in not having fun at a game. You've already paid for your season tickets, and no sense burning a jersey. Just leave it at home. Let the players look into the stands, see all of the fans who vastly outnumber them and want to stand for the anthem, not wearing any of their jersey, not wearing any NFL gear.
Look, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but until this is resolved and ends, my football day now is Saturday. I just can't, and I'm not boycotting. I'm not urging boycotts. I'm not saying don't go to games. I'm not saying to burn your jerseys. I'm not saying anything. I want the flag, the anthem, and I want the honor to the servicemen and women given appropriately. That's it. And if any of these players want to come to me and partner with me in any cause that can help people in their community, I'll donate. I'll give money. We donate money all the time to causes on this program. We don't talk about it because that seems arrogant, too. The Bible actually says don't tell people. You got to do
a matching thing. We're not just donating. Let's have them put their money where their mouth is, where their knees are.
Listen, Robert Kraft brought his players to the worst neighborhoods around Foxborough, and he said, I'll match you dollar for dollar, but nobody's...
Match.
Right.
Match.
You know what we should do with Spencer Tillman? Or maybe... we'll check in with our buddy Burgess Owens, who's on the program. All right, we're way behind. All right, the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, next. Also in the next hour, Bill O'Reilly is going to make his return appearance on Hannity tonight, 9 Eastern on the Fox News Channel. Rush Limbaugh's coming up later this week. We're really excited. Rush is going to do the show. All right, as we roll along, Sean Hannity Show, the Attorney General of the United States, Jeff Sessions. Bill O'Reilly checks in. His return to Fox News tonight on Hannity, 9 Eastern. Burgess Owens joins us. I can't wait to meet him. Imagine his book. Oh, it's so good. I'll tell you about it straight ahead. And much more.
Freedom of thought and speech on American campus are under attack. The American University was once the center of academic freedom, a place of robust debate, a forum for the competition of ideas. But it is transforming into an echo chamber of political correctness and homogeneous thought, a shelter for fragile egos. In 2017, the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education surveyed 450 colleges and universities across the country and found that 40% maintain speech codes that substantially infringe on constitutionally protected speech.
All right, that was the Attorney General giving an address on the importance of freedom of speech on college campuses. 800-941-SEAN is a toll-free telephone number. You want to be a part of the program. It doesn't exist today. Just look at all the things that have been happening, in Berkeley and other universities around the country. This has been going on for years. Conservatives are rarely allowed to give their opinion in some of these left-wing campuses. The Attorney General of the United States of America, Jeff Sessions, former senator, joins us. By the way, on a day that they're actually battling it out to take over your seat in Alabama today. Any thoughts what's going to happen there?
Well, who knows? Polling data is never something you can totally rely on, but it's an important election. I think people are giving it attention, and the people of Alabama will speak.
Well, I think so, but you know the state as well as anybody. Let me ask you about this, and what does it mean? For example, there's all sorts of freedom of speech issues that the NFL players have to deal with. For example, they can't put 9/11, remember 9/11 2001 on their cleats. A player's mother who survived breast cancer can't wear pink if it's not the appropriate time. You can't wear headphones that aren't Bose. You can't wear a shirt like RG3 that's not Nike. They couldn't put on the Dallas Cowboys helmet. They couldn't put on, a remembrance of the 5 cops that were slaughtered down in Texas. So my question to you is, in that environment, that's not a free speech. That's not a government issue. That is a league issue, and the league would have the right to enforce rules that they deem appropriate for their league, right?
That's correct. There's no federal offense that could be charged for people who show disrespect to the national anthem or to the flag of the United States. So there's not a crime on that, but they are employed by a employer who normally sets those kind of rules. Businesses don't let people wear political buttons while they're serving customers normally. So that's all their business. Nobody has had their speech blocked. None of the football players have by the federal government. But I would say one more thing. The president also has free speech. And I think we've just lost sight of the importance, bipartisan, non-political importance of recognizing and venerating our nation at the time of the national anthem or the presentation of colors. Don't you think? So why the president is perfectly correct to be critical of people who refuse to do that, who somehow lost sight of how to protest and how to make a statement and actually end up denigrating, even on a foreign soil, the United States of America.
If schools are going to allow liberal speech, they would have to allow conservative speech, would they not?
Oh, absolutely. Speech is to be protected, particularly for those who may be in a minority and who want to speak out against something they're concerned about. That's the whole purpose of the constitutional protection.
Well, I think that, which is so important. Mr. There's a lot going on in the world today, and there's so much as it relates to these investigations going on. Is there anything that bothers you about where we are in terms of the constant narrative that has been pushed by some people in terms of setting up a special counsel, the special counsel being set up? You had recused yourself. Rod Rosenstein now is being questioned by the special counsel he appointed. Is anything seem out of whack from your perspective as both the Attorney General and as somebody that knows the law so well? You're the top lawyer in the country right now.
Sean, I'm not able to comment on this investigation. I would say this, that I do feel like often that the actions that are perfectly normal and natural are being projected by the media in lights that are just not justifiable. And it's really painful to see that happening. And good people, or a lot of them have had things said in ways that are not good. But I can't comment on the details of the matter, Sean.
I understand. Can you comment on this? And I'm not trying to. I don't get up very often to talk to you. I saw that Republicans in the House Judiciary Committee did draft a letter to you and the Deputy Attorney General asking for the appointment of a second special counsel to investigate the 2016 elections, and that would be Comey and Hillary Clinton and Loretta Lynch and all those matters, in light of the fact that James Comey apparently had already had a predetermined outcome before he even interviewed the key witnesses in the case. Would that be a reason, generally speaking, to reopen it?
Well, what I will say is that we've got a request from the United States Congress. We did a lot of those, a lot of different angles, and it is going to be properly responded to by the Department of Justice. The members are entitled to certain responses consistent with the laws of our country, and we will do that.
I have one last question on this issue, and then we'll get back to the student issue. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. I want to ask you about them. And I know that there are many people that have strong opinions about Julian Assange. He's somebody that I've interviewed, Mr. Attorney General, 5 times. And he's the one person that would know where the DNC emails, Podesta emails, came from, because he's the one that published them. He claims that he has, and in interviews with me, at least 4 of them, he said it was not a state party. It was not Russia. And he now says he has evidence that could prove such. If the one person that knows for sure who put who gave him that information? And is saying that he has proof that it wasn't Russia, which goes to the heart of a 10-month distraction, in my opinion, and discussion in this country. Wouldn't law enforcement, and in this case the special counsel and Congress, have an obligation to talk to him and find out what he knows?
Well, he certainly has the ability to communicate to law enforcement, Department of Justice, at any time he desires. That he hasn't, I don't know. And I'm just, not able to comment on the existence or lack of investigations in various matters.
Yeah.
I think we just need to be disciplined about that. And when you get off of that tactic, you wade into deeper and deeper water and end up with problems you shouldn't create.
You know what, Mr. Attorney General, and I've known you for many years. I just feel like the truth is out there and evidence is out there, and I think that nobody's even approached the guy that would absolutely know. And for me, look, I'm not the lawyer that you are. I don't understand these things, but to me, if somebody I would think knows assuredly that he has evidence that would prove one thing that we're not hearing, I would just think that it would be wise for anybody investigating the matter to at least interview the guy, talk to the guy, and find out what he knows, because I think the country is suffering as a result of the nonstop leaking and allegations and conspiracy theories that we almost have on a daily basis. Now, I know you've been in politics a long time. I bet this has probably been the worst you've seen it.
It is actually really frustrating, and I think damaging to the country, but the country is stronger than a lot of people give us credit for, so hopefully we can work our way through this, Sean, and I hear your concerns.
Yeah. All right. I won't put you in this position. What else can you tell us about what your job is and how you see your job? And I applaud you for standing up for freedom of speech on college campuses, and how the relationship with the president is. It got a little rocky there for a little bit, but things seem to have calmed down and everything seems to be going pretty well. Tell us, I think the American people want to know, exactly what it is, the types of things that you're working on, and enforcing laws that maybe weren't enforced from the Obama years, and maybe just, to address just the things that I know you can talk about.
Sean, there are a number of things. We feel like, I've talked to a lot of great young lawyers here at the Department of Justice who shared, I think, the classical understanding of how law should be interpreted, the hostility they faced in college and in law school. So we believe that this is a civil rights matter. Part of your civil rights is to be able to speak and be able to be heard and not be shut down. So one of the things that we'd like to do is make sure that on colleges, above maybe any other place, that people have the right to speak out and be heard and not be punished or shut down. That's important. One of the things that just happened was the FBI released their crime statistics for the year, and murder rate is up another 8%, 20% in the last 2 years. And a lot of this is because of a diminishment and demeaning of our police officers, lawsuits that have constricted their ability to do their job, and the moving away from the kind of effective police tactics that were done in New York, for example, on the Rudy Giuliani and the years since. And they are highly sophisticated. They have a low crime rate, whereas you look at places like Baltimore and Chicago, where murder rates are continuing to surge. So we've had the highest, last year was the highest increase in murder since 1968. And this year will be another 8%, on top of that, 12%. And so we mean this department is committed to working with our state and local officers, who represent 85% of all law officers in America, respecting them, working with them, helping them do better, supporting them, not undermining them. And if we all work together, maybe we can stop this rise, get this crime rate under control. Because you have 3, 4, 5 years of these kind of increases, all of a sudden the whole safety of the average American has been undermined.
All right, Mr. Attorney General, I know you've got a very tough job. We've known you for a long time. It's going to be very interesting to watch the race down in Alabama and the results tonight.
Yes, it will.
And
as Attorney General, I'm not able to make any comments about that, and that's kind of
I kind of like
that question.
I kind of like our old relationship because you were free as a bird, and now I have to adjust to the new role because we talk about everything. But I understand, and I want to respect your position. I know that you're a man of honor and law and order, and I know that it's a very hard, difficult time and job that you're doing. We wish you the best.
Thank you very, very much.
Okay,
Have
sir.
a great day.
You too. 800-941-SEAN, toll-free telephone number. Bill O'Reilly at the bottom of the hour. He'll be joining us, his first appearance since leaving the Fox News Channel. That's tonight at 10 on the Fox News Channel. Hope you'll set your DVR. Oh, I just said tonight at 10 again. What is wrong with me? Tonight at 9.
Sean Hannity, you're on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I know. It shows what a robot I am. I can't remember. Anyway, tonight at 9 on Hannity, our new time on the Fox News Channel. And I know the media is pulling for me to get my ass kicked and wants me to lose, but with your help every day, that's not going to happen. All right, when we come back, your calls and Bill O'Reilly at the bottom of the hour. Then the one and only Burgess Owen is going to join us and discuss the latest with the NFL. Don't miss that. All right, as we continue, Sean Hannity Show, 800-941-SEAN, our number. All right, let's get to our busy telephones as we say hi to Deborah is in Prescott, Arizona, and we heard the fans booing last night. Did you capture the boos, Jason, or no? I mean, it was loud. Didn't you think it was loud? I couldn't believe it.
I didn't turn it on, Sean.
You didn't turn it on. Well, listen, I got to tell you, a lot of my friends are saying the same thing. I'll tell you what people did last night. They tuned in to see what would happen. And then they saw Jerry Jones kneeling with all his players. They did stand for the anthem. They're trying to thread a needle here, is what they're now trying to do, and they're playing catch-up. They frankly don't know what to do because because people respect their flag, they respect their anthem, they respect their country, and they know the sacrifice of so many that allows the freedom we have.
Let me tell you something. I'm a third-generation Steelers fan. I'm a native Arizonan. My father was from Pittsburgh. He was also a World War II veteran, as is my brother a veteran, and many other family members and friends. And when I watch a football game, sometimes it's alone in my living room, and I stand and put my hand over my heart when they do the Star-Spangled Banner. And I'm done with the Steelers now. They're the only team I watch, and I'm done.
I saw Ben Roethlisberger actually went out and said he regretted the fact that he was involved in this, that it's not the way to go. And I'm like, Ben, I mean, you're a great quarterback. It's a day late and a dollar short. Let me play the booing from last night. Hey, here's the booing. I don't hear anybody clapping. Sounds like,
Kudos to Villanueva. He's my hero.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other vets that have risked their lives for our country.
I mean, that's the thing. The cost of freedom and liberty has been high. These men died fighting under that flag. Many of them.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands.
And I don't see what it has to do with any other type of protest. Plus, it's against the NFL policy anyway. So
yeah.
They can't pick and choose what they want to.
I tell you, until this goes away, I'm like a Saturday football guy now. And I'm really enjoying college football more than ever. And it's a lot of fun. And I'm just hoping that colleges are smart enough not to get into this mess.
Well, I saw some Oakland school districts bands kneeled to play the Star-Spangled Banner yesterday or today. Yeah, sad.
Well,
sad.
You know what? Maybe it's our job. We're going to have to educate a lot of these people. We appreciate you being with us. Thank you so much, Deborah. All right, when we come back, Bill O'Reilly, he'll be joining us tonight at 9, our new time on the Fox News Channel. And I have a lot to say about how everything with Democrats gets turned into race and the proof that nobody will ever show you in the media. That's 9 Eastern tonight. We hope you'll join us in our new time because the media wants me to fall flat on my face, and with your help, I won't. We'll continue. All right, 25 till the top of the hour. Toll-free telephone numbers 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. Obviously, NFL is taking the news of the day, and there's so much out here, and I am tired. I'm sick and tired of everybody running to race. The president said nothing about race, nothing at all. And could it be as simple as all these people burning their jersey, their NFL memorabilia? Could it just be as simple as this? That Americans love their flag, love their country, respect the anthem, and respect the millions of people that fought, bled, and died for their country. Could it be that simple? I think it can. All right, joining us now, Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly will make his first appearance on the Fox News Channel tonight on my program, Hannity, and it's brand new time, 9 o'clock, and we're really excited about having him. His book, Killing England, The Brutal Struggle for American Independence now, has been number one on Amazon for the better part of at least, a week now, right?
It's doing really well. I mean, I'm very surprised since I don't have that perch. But first, I got to tell all your listeners that you crush in your first night at 9 o'clock Eastern time last night. You crushed Maddow. Just absolutely wiped her off the face of the earth in the ratings.
Listen, it's not quite O'Reilly numbers.
To you.
You were the king of cable all those years.
Now.
You know, I
said. Here's why.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's why that happened. Because most Americans, I put the number at 65%. Know this whole NFL thing is bogus. It's garbage. And why it's garbage is because this is generated not by Colin Kaepernick, who I believe is a sincere man, by the way. I believe he feels that his country is not worthy. That's what he believes. But this thing is a Trump thing now. It's morphed into an anti-Trump protest. But 65% of Americans, as you just said, love their country, love their flag, love their anthem. They're not going to handle insulting the anthem and the flag very well. So that's what's happening. The folks knew last night on TV that you would put it in that perspective, whereas MSNBC and CNN would take the opposite tact and say, oh, no, the dissenters are right, and you guys who really believe your country's noble, you're wrong. That's why this is happening.
Tell me about your comments. I liked your comments over Roger Goodell, who I think has lost total control over this, and I don't think he recovers.
You know what? I know him, and he's married to a former colleague of ours who I like very much, but they're being hypocritical. They have told the New York teams time and again, you cannot put anything on your uniform that signifies support for 9/11 families. You can't do it, okay? Well, all right, if that's your rule, then why are you allowing a political dissent on the field during the game?
Bill,
so that made my blood boil.
It made listen, there was one player that wanted to honor his mother suffering from breast cancer with pink on his uniform. Then you have the case, you remember the 5 cops that were slaughtered in Dallas last year? Well, the Dallas Cowboys respectfully wanted to honor the police officers that were slain in the line of duty, and they were prohibited from doing it. And so,
yes.
Either you're going to allow political statements to be made or you're not going to, and you can't arbitrarily,
It's very simple. Very simple.
It's so simple. But I'm not giving up on this. I'm not giving up because you know something, Bill?
No, look, the NFL is going to cave. They're going to cave. I predict right here on the Sean Hannity program. They're going to cave because they're not on the right side of the argument. Quality of dissent. Kaepernick and the others think America is a bad country. They think it actively keeps blacks and other minorities down. That's what they believe. What is that based on? What? Can you point to a general law that does that? Can you point to anything in the Constitution that does that? No. It's individual. Well, this happened in Ferguson, or this happened in that. Come on. If you're going to dissent and you're going to insult the flag, you got to know something. I probably submit to you, Killing England, about the Revolutionary War, I could give a quiz to the NFL players, and they'd all flunk. Maybe 10% would.
By the way, you know how many men on the street interviews I'd send people out, and we'd ask people who the vice president of the country is, and 9 out of 10 don't know. I mean, it's funny, it's entertaining, but it's insane.
We designed Waters World to just show everybody.
I know.
But I'm not being.
By the way, can I just say something?
Talking down to the NFL.
No, can I just say something? This is pretty funny. I mean, all this time, and you said, I don't know if I want to get back in the swamp, Hannity. I don't know if I want to get back in the sewer of cable news. You're sitting on the beach, and you're dying to get back because I can hear the passion in your voice.
I'm yelling on the beach. I'm scaring the beachgoers. I'm frightening them.
You're scaring the fish, for God's sakes.
But look, this is That's why you did so well last night in the ratings, because people want rational voices, all right? And the voices of the far left are destroying the country. I think we're going to get into that tonight on television, all right? They're destroying it. And there are very few rational voices left to be heard. So when something like this comes along, it's not about Trump. Trump injected himself into it, yes. But it's about whether you believe the USA is noble or not. And if you don't, I want you to back that up. But they can't.
Look, we're all imperfect people. Look, I'm not the greatest Christian in the world, but I believe with all my heart, mind, and soul. We've all sinned, Bill. We've all fallen short. You know, Barry Farber, who was one of the great founders of talk radio, said there's never been a country like the United States of America that accumulated more power and abused it less, and accumulated more power to advance the human condition than this country. You know, there's a great column earlier today that was out. 600 and Kobach wrote it. The Attorney General, I forget, where is he from? I forget. And he actually pointed out Kansas. All right, so more than 650,000 plus Americans have given their lives in defense of this country, our Constitution, our freedom, and our liberty. By the way, I want to stop you right there because I'm not letting you talk any more about issues because we're going to do this tonight. I do want to talk to you about something else. And I want you to bring all that passion on TV tonight, which I know you will. And I agree with you. Do you know I am being threatened today again? My show is being threatened by these liberal fascists that monitor everything that we do, conservatives and talk radio and television. And they pay people to sit in their basements in their underwear and take notes and monitor every word and record every word. Do you realize I'm being threatened with another boycott effort just because I am allowing you to talk as an American citizen?
Right. And this is Media Matters. They are the most dangerous organization in America. They are totalitarians, liars across the board. But they'll lose. They'll lose because, again, people want rational thought. And they don't
want Bill, in all fairness, fascism. They don't always lose. They went after Dr. Laura. They've gone after you.
Turning.
But they've gone after Rush and Beck and me and everybody and Don Imus and Jeffrey Lord for crying out loud.
It's turning. I really do. I think the tide is turning, and people are going to understand the danger of these people threatening, and that's the word, threatening speech. They're threatening speech.
No, they're trying to silence opposition voices, Bill, and voices they don't like. The most amazing thing, and I don't want to interrupt you, the most amazing thing is that it's the conservatives that are tolerant, not the left.
You don't have an organized cabal on the right trying to shut down free speech. Sometimes they get nasty on the right. Sometimes they attack. But they're not going to sponsors saying, if you don't pull out, we're going to organize a boycott and demonstrate in front of your building. That's anti-American. That's what's happening. You know, look, this is exactly what happened back in 1774 when the King of England basically told everybody here in America, all right, if you say one word against the crown, we're going to put you in prison, okay? This is exactly the same thing. And we fought and died for 8 years in the Revolutionary War, okay, to get that out of here. And now these far-left cranks, these haters, have brought it back, and it's being accepted by some in the mainstream media. Think about how dangerous this is. So I'm as passionate as you are because I got caught up in this thing. You were gutsy enough to hit it straight on and beat it back, but they're not going away anytime soon.
You know what's so sad about all of this and where we are? My heart broke when the Jaguars were playing the Ravens in London, and they stood for God Save the Queen, Bill.
Right.
Not for the national anthem.
And you know what? And here's what makes it worse. When I went over to Afghanistan in 2007 and Iraq in 2006, the military people over there who were fighting every day, one of their few relaxations is watching NFL games.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine over there today what they're thinking, watching what's happening here. Why are we in Afghanistan? Why? We're there so that the poor people there can have some kind of freedom and some kind of life, in addition to not allowing a sanctuary for terrorists to attack us. We're good guys in Afghanistan, okay? And these people are kneeling in London. So all of these idiots who don't know anything about the USA can say, you see, told you it's a bad country. I mean, they are so misguided. I wish I could go to every NFL locker room and give out Killing England to every single player. They can read this, learn something.
You know what you said the last time?
My God.
Hey, well, it's frustrating. I listen. We're fighting for the
It
soul.
is.
We're fighting for the soul of the country. We really are. The culture battles are now front and
it's
center.
more than that, though. We're fighting against corruption.
Oh, of course.
Corruption.
Goes with it.
You know, you have a mainstream media, the major newspapers, and 2 out of the 3 cable networks, and all the broadcast networks, who basically say, hey, Media Matters, go ahead. Smear everybody you want. We're not going to investigate you. We're not going to tell the folks what you're doing. That's corruption. If it were happening on the right, they'd nail the conservatives to the cross. I mean, it's just crazy what's happening in America today.
Not one liberal host on any of those liberal networks, the real champions of freedom of speech, stood up for any conservative that was being boycotted or they're attempting to silence their voices.
Nobody, and they won't even, listen, when I came out and said one of those women was arrested in Detroit for filing a false police report,
they didn't report it.
They wouldn't even print it.
All right, we'll take a break. A fired-up Bill O'Reilly is with us. His book is out. It's called Killing England, The Brutal Struggle for American Independence. And don't forget, he will be joining us, his first appearance since leaving the Fox News Channel, tonight, 10 Eastern. And we hope you'll tonight, 9 Eastern. We hope you'll set your DVR and join us tonight on the Fox News Channel. You don't want to miss it. Quick break. More with Bill O'Reilly on the other side. Straight ahead. All right, as we continue, Bill O'Reilly is with us. He has his latest bestseller out, Killing England, The Brutal Struggle for American Independence. Last time, you said something pretty profound that I want to go back to, because I do think this is a fight. When we were talking the last time about all the memorials and all the statues and all the things they want to take down, and they want to basically erase history. It's like George Orwell, 1984, coming to real life. And now we've got the NFL, and now that's the next battle in this. But you said something that I thought was really profound. Ultimately, it's the Constitution itself that they want to say is corrupt.
That's right.
And not acknowledge the beauty of our founders and framers is simple. They weren't perfect men. This isn't a perfect country. I'll go back to the quote I gave you on Barry Farber, and I can tell you this, that no country has done more for the advancement of humankind. But the beauty of that document is we correct wrongs, we correct evil, we correct injustices. And, Bill, history has proven their wisdom, their insight, their intuition was right. If you give it to the people, they'll eventually, albeit slowly, get it right.
Well, Killing England, I wrote this book so that people would be armed and dangerous with facts about how this country was founded, who Washington, Jefferson, and Franklin, what they went through as men. And as you rightly pointed out, we don't gloss it over. They had bad things as well as good things. But I think Americans today take their freedoms for granted, and they shouldn't, because they're under assault. The goal of the far left is to rewrite that Constitution, and that's why they're using the words white supremacist. That's why they want to knock down the statues of Jefferson, change the names of the schools that Washington and Franklin are on, because they consider those bad men. We have to redo it in the socialistic point of view and get it into the American people's heads that we're not a good country. We need a complete overhaul.
Listen,
that's the end game.
All 4 of my grandparents came from Ireland, and they came here with nothing. And my grandparents and my parents, I stand on their shoulders, as I know you do, with the hope that we'd have a better lives than they had. And this will be the first generation where that may not happen because of what's happening. Are you excited to be on tonight? We're looking forward to having you.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, I haven't been back to FNC since April. I'm looking forward to seeing the crews, the floor crews, and everybody. And I really appreciate you having the guts to invite me on. It's not an easy thing. And
you know what? Actually,
I want
Bill,
everybody to know about
it is.
BillO'Reilly.com. We do talking points every day, and Killing
Well, I like
England,
the book too. The Killing England: The Brutal Struggle for American Independence, #1 bestseller again. And we'll have you on the. Well, we saved saved a lot for tonight. I didn't get into one-fifth of what I want to talk to you about, so we'll do that tonight on Hannity,
Good,
10
I'm
Eastern.
up for it, man.
All right, appreciate you being with us. 800-941-SEAN, toll-free telephone number. You want to be a part of the program. Burgess Owen, NFL Super Bowl champion, is going to join us next. We'll have a debate on what's going on in the NFL.
Well, I wasn't preoccupied with the NFL. I was ashamed of what was taking place. I don't think you can disrespect our country, our flag, our national anthem. Many people have died. Many, many people. Many people are so horribly injured. I was at Walter Reed Hospital recently, and I saw so many great young people, and they're missing legs, and they're missing arms, and they've been so badly injured. And they were fighting for our country. They were fighting for our flag. They were fighting for our national anthem. And for people to disrespect that by kneeling during the playing of our national anthem, I think is disgraceful.
All right, glad you're with us. News Roundup and Information Overload Hour. This is the Sean Hannity Show. 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. You know, one of the things that I think really got to me this weekend, it was when there was the game going on in London this weekend, the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm watching Americans. And I'm watching Americans kneel for the national anthem and standing for God Save the Queen. And I'm thinking something has gone really awry here and something is wrong. Now, I'm going to lay out on TV tonight, on Hannity, on the Fox News channel, not everything in this country is about race. There are people that look at this flag and they remember, we've lost 650,000 brave Americans that have given their lives in defense of this country, fighting for our Constitution under that flag for the principles of freedom and liberty and justice and all it represents. No, look, we've all sinned and fallen short. Guilty is charged. You know what? I'm more guilty than everybody. I'm guilty. I admit it. Our framers, our founders, they were imperfect, but they designed a system in their wisdom to overcome the wrongs, evils, injustices in life. And we have a history of Americans bravely standing up arm in arm and fighting for these things. So the question is, where is it going from here? What is going to be the net result of all of this? It really is an honor and a real privilege to me to have Super Bowl champion Burgess Owens is with us, author of the brand new book, Liberalism, or How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps. This is a book I just got a hold of it. I can't wait to read it. And we're also joined by Bert Hubbock is with us, and he's a freelance sports writer. Bart Hubbock is with us, freelance sports writer. I know who you are, by the way, and here to discuss this. I know you're probably like me. I mean, you're probably a big fan of Burgess as well, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was when I was growing up, 70s and early 80s.
I mean, first of all, you look amazing. I know a lot of people that played in the NFL and had great careers like you did that they didn't do so well. And you look like you're in great shape. You don't seem to have any lasting injuries of any kind.
I was very blessed, and I think I was telling you before.
I'm going to pick that up.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, it's better when it's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I happen to be, my position was free safety, so I was a hitter instead of the hittee, and that plays a big part. And I think I came out of the game at the right time, 10 years, and I was beginning to kind of figure out I need to do other things, so I became an entrepreneur process. So the timing was perfect, and I'm just really blessed to be in a position.
That's an eternity in the NFL.
It is.
The average NFL player makes about $2.4 million a year, and their lifespan's 3.5 years in the NFL. It's not a long lifespan there. The average ticket cost is just a little under $100. Take a family of four. You buy a couple of beers, you buy a hot dog, you buy a Coke, and maybe your son or daughter wants a jersey. You leave there $700.
Yeah.
And why are people turning this into race? The president never mentioned race. He talked about respect for the anthem, the flag, and the country, and those that served under that flag. What is your take?
Well, I think we have to look at the big picture, and that is, because I know my history, I know the greatness of the black race, what we did here, I know how that's been hidden. I also know where we started going wrong. There's an ideology out there, liberalism, socialism, atheism, Marxism, they're all of the same cloth, and they're all against the Judeo-Christian values we have in this country. This country has been the greatest place in its history of mankind for all races, and what they've done to the black race, starting back in early 1900s, first of all, you take away God. You then take away the family system, the family unit, take away the fabric that really makes our country what it is. Then take away our history. We have such a great history that many Americans will be totally shocked to hear about. When I talk about us leading the country in terms of the black middle class, leading the country in terms of percentage of men committed to marriage, all those things were going on during the days of segregation, Jim Crow, because we were, just like every other culture, determined to win. Matter of fact, the more racists we went after, the more we were determined to beat them. And so what do we have left? After all that, what we have left basically for the left is to take away pride in our country. The one thing that unites us all, we have such a diverse country. That's what I love about this America. Diversity, we can debate all kind of issues, all kind of backgrounds. The one thing we've always come together on is our flag, the pride in being an American. And that's what the flag represents.
Have you taken heat for taking this position?
Yeah, I mean, obviously. And if you're going to stand for anything, really, you're going to have the naysayers. And to be honest with you, John, I don't care. I've been a little disappointed it's taken me this long to finally get some attention because my goal is this.
If I would have known you wrote this book, you would have been a regular on my program.
I look at it this way. If you're going to be a fighter, if you really love this country, I love my race, I'm proud of who we are. All the other stuff doesn't matter. What people say, it makes no difference to me because the people I respect what I respect. And so I'm excited about it. I'm just loving the opportunity to have these discussions. My goal is to be able to, like other black conservatives, get into the black community. We need to get back and fight for those kids that we've been losing over the last few decades.
I think I'm the only person nationally, when all this violence, record numbers of murders and shootings in Chicago, one night I decided I'm going to name the names because everyone talks about George Zimmerman, Trayvon. They talk about Michael Brown and Ferguson. They talk about Freddie Gray in Baltimore. I'm like, okay, look at the list. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of human souls destroyed.
Yeah.
All that God-given talent and potential is gone.
Yeah.
Evaporate. And you don't hear anybody talking about it.
We don't hear it because those who control the messaging are those who don't care. You see, what happened with the black community, particularly in the 70s, I saw and I've been able to study, realize that's when we lost our middle class. So squeezed in the middle. So we then have more elitists and more dependents. Elitists, the last thing they care about are people of their race. They care about themselves and their group. So, yes, we have a fight to fight. And the biggest thing for me is to get back the empathy, caring, serving middle class. We get that done, and everything else will take care of itself. Let
me bring in Bart. Bart, with all due respect, if you're on with Burgess Owen, you're not getting as much time. Because I'm sitting here mesmerized. What's your reaction to what he's saying in light of what's happening with the NFL? I mean, when I saw this from England on Sunday, I'm like, you know what? Saturday's my game day for a while. And I'm not a boycotter. I don't believe in boycotts. People try and silence me through boycotts. It's not who I am.
I'm a little confused at where he's going. I don't understand. This country was founded on dissent, and are you saying that? Are you guys saying that there should not be allowed to protest?
No. What we're saying is this: every generation, what made our country great, it's been in the American DNA that every generation leaves more hope to the following generation. The minute we have a country that begins to not give our kids hope that they can overcome, they can succeed by going through the process that we all go through, then we lose the culture and we lose our position as being real men. So what I'm saying is this: there's no problem with debate. Let's not demean the country and the theme of what America is all about, which is you can overcome anything. And if I can do it, you can do it. Elitists are really good at this. I can do it, but you can't. And unfortunately, we have too many black Americans believing that. And so they start off already believing that they're already behind the ball game because someone told them they're not going to make it happen. So my goal, very simply, let's have this debate. Let's have it in a very friendly, respectful way, and we win if we do it that way because facts are on our side.
What's your reaction?
Well, I just feel that, this, like I said, this is people exercising their First Amendment right, their freedom of speech. I don't understand.
Can I just add one thing to that?
Well, how can you tell somebody what they're allowed to protest, how they're allowed to protest?
Well, you can't twerk in the NFL. You can't shoot a bow and arrow or mimic shooting a bow and arrow. When 5 officers were killed during a shooting rampage in Dallas, the Cowboys weren't allowed to put a little insignia on their helmet to honor them. Are they not all violations of free speech? Or there was one player whose mother was suffering from breast cancer wanted to keep a little pink on his uniform in remembrance of his mother. He wasn't allowed to do that. Players, look at RG3, who I just happen to be the biggest fan of, and I thought he was one of the most amazing, talented, gifted players ever. He got fined for wearing Reebok instead of Nike. Some players
got fined.
Okay, but wait a minute. But
Trump
you
wants them to be fired, wants them to lose their jobs, lose their profession because of a protest.
I'll let Burgess respond.
Well, you're hearing from a businessman, and understand in a business setting, that's what leaders do. Go to the NFL corporate offices, or let's say I'm working there, and I decide on my lunch break I'm going to go down and start demonstrating. Guess what's going to happen when I come back to my desk? I won't have one. Because that's what business people do. They protect their brand, they protect their business, they protect their profits. So they have a right to fine anyone they want to. And
it's actually in the rule books exactly how teams are supposed to react during the anthem, which is stand tall, be quiet, be on the field for the anthem, and put your helmet in your left hand and your left arm.
Well, the players weren't even on the field for the anthem until 2009.
You're the sports writer.
Because the NFL sold patriotism.
Hey, Bart. You're the sports writer. Why do you not know? Why do I know more than you? Because there's supposed to be, as a matter of league rules, on the field for the anthem.
No. This is all collectively bargained. This is all collectively bargained. Why do you think that they don't get rid of players?
Well, can I take it to a different level? Okay, I mean, we can talk about rules. We can talk about rights to protest. Personally, I watched my race go down the tubes in a big way. I grew up in a segregated community of Tallahassee, Florida. We were proud, patriotic. My dad had come back from the war. His last thoughts in his lifetime was that he was proud to come back as a proud patriot, and he kicked butt when he came back. When he got his PhD at Ohio State during the times of segregation and Jim Crow, we had a race that was winning because they understood everything that other races understand. We now have a race that's not. So let's talk about why that's happening, and it comes down to hope. And we start taking away the hope of our young kids, and they think they can't make it anymore, then the wrong side is winning. That's not the American way. So aside from all the rules, let's talk about what we're leaving these kids that want to look. They don't have dads, number one. The dads are not in their home. So they look at the guys on the football field as their mentors. And the mentors will tell them, guess what, guys, I can make it. I can make $5 million, $25 million a year, but you can't because the white man's going to stop you. And that's not the message we should be giving anybody.
Yeah, but I don't understand. What does that have to do with the flag protest?
Well, okay.
Are you not hearing him? I mean, are you having trouble with your feelings? What are you not understanding?
What does the disappearing black middle class have to do with the flag anthem?
When we come back,
the anthem protest.
When we come back, we'll give Burgess another opportunity to help raise your consciousness. Burgess Owens and Bart Hubach is with us. Take a break. We'll come back and we'll continue. It's the Sean Hannity Show. Your calls and comments. And Ainsley Earhart from the Fox News Channel coming up next. All right, as we continue, the latest on the NFL controversy, as we continue with Burgess Owens is with us, former Super Bowl champion and author of the book Liberalism, or How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps. And Bart Hubach is with us, and he's a freelance sports writer, formerly with the New York Post. All right, well, I'll give you another chance, Burgess, to explain to him, because he keeps every time you answer, he says, what does that mean?
Okay, let me kind of give you a little, again.
No, I didn't say what does it mean. I'm saying what does it have to do with the anthem protest?
Okay, here's what it has to do with it. I was fortunate to grow up in a time when my black community, segregated community, was very, very proud of being Americans, very proud of our country, and they knew the promises of this country was that we work hard, they had the faith it will become better. I remember going to seventh grade, walking to school and raising the flag, lowering the flag with a friend of mine, and being taught never to let it touch the ground because we desecrated. So guess what happens when you understand that there's a promise this country gives us, that there's first of all, Judeo-Christian values. There's a God in heaven that says this is the place to make it happen. Fall short, fail if you want to, but you can make it happen. What happens when I failed is I say, you know what, I can do it. That's the one thing I knew I had over my next door neighbor when I had to move to Brooklyn, New York, an inner city, bankrupt because of business I went through. I remember thinking the advantage
At what point in your life was that?
This was 7 years after the NFL.
Wow, you went bankrupt. That's tough.
And I remember being in a basement apartment with 4 kids, and there's gunshots outside. As humbling as it was, I remember saying, the advantage I have with my next door neighbor, I know it's temporary. I know that this is going to be a life lesson, and I'll be able to, at some point, tell people why this is such an important point.
Are you look? I understand Bart's point to a certain extent. I want to understand the liberal mind as much as I can, and there is truth. This society, the evils of racism and hatred and animosity and antipathy. I get so angry, and I'm going to deal with this tonight on my TV show, that the race card is used by Democrats every 2 and 4 years during elections. The president never mentioned race. I see this as respect and an understanding for those who fought, bled, died for this country, for the right to play a great game and be a champion and give back to the community also. And I think just for the simple reason of honoring those that died for us, that's enough for me to stand and the anthem. If people want to protest, there are a lot of reasons to protest. You know, for Colin Kaepernick to have socks that depict police as pigs and praising Fidel Castro is not on my list. Your reaction?
Well, I think the key to it is a lot of, and I'm going to tell you what the way I look at the Democratic Party. It makes it basically 4 simple words: slavery, segregation, secession, and socialism. Now, that is, and I say this from a person who used to be a Democrat, who realized that my race from the time I was growing up was going in the wrong direction. We need to understand that there's a message of division and there's a message of harmony. Whenever you start calling people racist because they might be a different color or because they have a different viewpoint, you're dividing. You're not having a conversation. It's not about a conversation. It's about demeaning and trying to bully people to stop.
I got a break. Are you a pastor?
No, I'm not.
You really you do speeches?
Yes, I do.
Motivational speeches?
Yes.
You're really good. Bart, I know that when listen, it's just a rule. If you're on with Burgess Owen, you're going to get less time, but you're very generous. I hope you're not mad at me about it, but we'd love to have you back. It's been one of my honors to meet you. I grew up watching you, and I'm just a huge fan, and God bless you, and we'll have you back on if you'll come for your book. I'd love to just talk about the book.
I would love to.
All right, sir. God bless you. Appreciate it.
Bart, take care, buddy.
When we come back, Ainsley Earhardt, Fox News, and your call straight ahead. All right, as we roll along, Sean Hannity Show, toll-free. Telephone numbers 800-941-SEAN. Ainsley Earhardt of Fox and Friends and the Fox News Channel will be joining us in a minute. First, if you missed a lot of what's been happening with our top story today, and that is the NFL. Wait do you hear my monologue tonight? And Bill O'Reilly will be joining us tonight, his first appearance since leaving Fox. Here is a recap and just how intense this battle is now getting.
I've watched him quite closely. So let's take what you just said. Yeah. He clearly doesn't want to talk about Puerto Rico. More than 3.5 million American citizens, along with the U.S. Virgin Islands. Not interested, doesn't say a word about it. Now, FEMA is down there. I've called on him to send the Navy, particularly the naval hospital ship called U.S. Comfort. I really think that would be a big help. We don't hear a word. And we don't hear anybody high up in the administration. You don't hear from the vice president or anybody else. So he doesn't think that has any political relevance, and it's certainly not personally important. He attacks black athletes, as he did, starting with his rally in Alabama, continued on Twitter. And he attacks them for protesting peacefully, for equality, for standing up for what they believe. And he does it, once again, to dog whistle to his base and to try to detract attention from other things that are going on. But it's quite telling that he is willing to attack black athletes. He never says anything of an insulting manner toward white supremacists or neo-Nazis or Ku Klux Klanners or Vladimir Putin, right?
I've never said anything about race. This has nothing to do with race or anything else. This has to do with respect for our country and respect for our flag.
You have Hillary, who's called black teens or black kids super predators. You have Donald Trump, who's openly racist. So what is this country really standing for?
But it makes me have a different view on them now.
Don't take a knee. Don't sit down. Don't do anything like that. You don't want to be here? Leave.
I don't think it's American at all. If you're going to do that, don't play in America.
For them to not come out at Soldier Field, that's dedicated to the military. And for them to be that disrespectful and not come out on Soldier's Field, I'm done with it.
There's other ways that you can give a stance and give a say, and I don't think it should be through our national anthem.
I think it's shameful. And I would like to see those Colts players leave the country and leave the team.
Well, I wasn't preoccupied with the NFL. I was ashamed of what was taking place because, to me, that was a very important moment. I don't think you can disrespect our country, our flag, our national anthem. To me, the NFL situation is a very important situation. I've heard that before about was I preoccupied. Not at all. Not at all. I have plenty of time on my hands. All I do is work. And to be honest with you, that's an important function of working. It's called respect for our country. Many people have died. Many people. Many people are so horribly injured. I was at Walter Reed Hospital recently, and I saw so many great young people, and they're missing legs, and they're missing arms, and they've been so badly injured. And they were fighting for our country. They were fighting for our flag. They were fighting for our national anthem. And for people to disrespect that by kneeling during the playing of our national anthem, I think is disgraceful.
Well, that's exactly what I've been saying. This is now a battle for the heart and soul of this country. Do we honor and respect our flag, our anthem, our country, and those that fought, bled, and died? It's that simple. It's not more complicated. Anyway, joining us, she is a friend and colleague from the Fox News Channel. Her last book, Take Heart, My Child, went to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And now Ainsley is coming out with a new book in a couple of weeks. We wanted to have her on because she, like a lot of us at Fox, has come under fire for anything we do or say. Anybody in this country that dares to like or be fair to Donald Trump is subject to getting the crap beat out of him. And Ainsley joins us now. How are you?
Hey, Sean. I'm great. How are you?
Good. So what is first? You guys now are coming under fire, and I saw Brian Kilmeade the other day, and Brian's been at this a long time, and I was surprised. He's like, I don't understand why people are coming after us, and I kind of laughed because I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't have, somebody firing something at my head.
Yeah, I mean, we are getting it from every angle, but I will say I'm from the South. I grew up in a Christian home. Both of my grandfathers fought in World War II. My father gave 20 years of service to the Army Reserves, drove 2 hours one weekend out of every month to go and serve our country, and then gave up 2 weeks every summer to go and train, and was always ready to go and fight for our country if called. So I come from a place, I represent the South, I represent the flyover states, the Midwest, and I feel like this president is the voice for so many people. And, it's easy for us as journalists who live in New York City or journalists that live in Hollywood to put it down, but they don't know the rest of the country. I have so many friends here, Sean, that grew up in New York, that have never left this city, and they think that the rest of the world is like them, and they're not. I mean, I have so many friends that have said, I'm glad President Trump said what he said. That's what I wanted to say, but I can't say it because we're shut down. We're called racist. Even though we're not racist, I feel like these are some of my friends that say, I'm not racist at all. I love everybody. What is wrong with standing for the national anthem? What is wrong for standing for the red, white, and blue? America represents all of us. The flag represents all of us. The national anthem, I just can't believe, I don't understand why individuals would want to take a knee for the I understand if you want to take it before, if you want to take it after, you have the right to do that. But so many people have died for this country, and like you said, by not standing for those individuals, for people who have sacrificed everything, who made $20,000 a year, where you've got these players that are playing on the gridiron that have never done anything for our country other than throw the football, and many of them are amazing people. They have done things for the inner cities. They have done things for their families. They're very generous with their millions of dollars. But they need to remember the reason they have the right to play football and the reason that we can pack those stands and not worry about a bomb going off like you do in other countries is because men and women are fighting hard on the front lines for all of us, and they need to show them respect.
That's really well said, and it's totally and completely and utterly true. There's 650,000 people that have died fighting for our Constitution, our way of life, for our liberties, our freedoms. And to me, that ought to be reason enough. And by the way, I make my living with the First Amendment. I'm all in favor of people speaking out on any issue they want. I don't have any problems with it. And even for those people that hate me. And by the way, I know this may shock you, but there are a lot of people that actually hate me. And oh, I'm glad that
I don't think you care.
I really don't give a flying rip if you want to know the truth.
No, do you remember when I came to Fox News? It was 10.5 years ago, and people were saying negative things about me, and I had never dealt with that because this was the first time I was at the national level. And I saw you when you were getting ready for your show, and you said, Ainsley, don't worry about it. Just Google my name. The first thing that comes up is Sean Hannity is an idiot.
See, thanks a lot.
You thought it was great.
I did.
You thought it was great.
Yeah, if I cared, I couldn't speak the truth. If I cared, I would not be able to say what I want to say every day. I mean, we got Bill O'Reilly's going to be on for the first time since he's left the channel tonight.
That's exciting. Are you ready for some amazing ratings? You already get great ratings, beating Rachel Maddow already, but my goodness.
Everybody loves the ratings race.
Huge.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And there are people that actually are trying to, for the 400th million time, starting boycotts. Oh, you can't let anybody else talk. And this is like the left is that way. You know, one of the things, I know that as I've gotten to know you and you worked on Hannity's America, I think the best assignment we ever gave you, though, was going down to spring break. And you were down there with my brother-in-law who was producing the whole thing, which was hilarious. Mm-hmm. I didn't remember this, but he had reminded me that at the time you were ready to have your first child and you have a little girl, right? I don't know. How old is she?
Hayden will be 2 in November. What happened is you sent me down there for a few years in a row.
I did.
And the security was getting
By the way,
tighter
that's
and tighter.
the easiest assignment. That's fun. No?
It was fun. It was fun. The last year, though, we went down in March, obviously spring break. And the last year, Tim was saying, all right, we're done for the day. The best thing is when you're done for the day because then you can go have a bite to eat and have a glass of wine or whatever. So we were done for the day, and Tim said,
well, in my case, vape and e-cig apparently is big news, but go ahead.
Oh, gosh. So what?
Yeah,
listen, I'm proud of you for not smoking anymore.
I gave up my cigars. That's correct.
I know. I'm proud of you. So, but we were there, and you sent me down there not knowing I was pregnant. So I told Tim, he's like, let's go drink beers. I said, I gave it up for Lent. I gave up alcohol for Lent. So that was my excuse not to drink. Then I announced a month later that I was pregnant.
Right.
I'm sure he was suspicious, but.
So you write this first book, and it's called Take Heart, My Child. It races to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And now you've done a follow-up, which is, I guess, coming out in about, 2 weeks now, and it's called My Child's Gift to Me Through Your Eyes. Explain what that means.
Well, it's called Through Your Eyes, My Child's Gift to Me, and it just means my first book I wrote because my dad left notes, scripture or quotes, Bible verses next to my cereal bowl every morning, or pretty much every morning. And so I was telling the publishers about that story after I'd written this other little book, and they said, that's your book. That's what you need to do, because I was pregnant, and they said, you need to pass on all of these words of wisdom to your child. So that was the first book, and it's just like a lyrical lullaby of all the things that my dad and mom taught me that I thought were important for me to pass on. So this book, once you have a child, as you know, Sean, it's amazing because. But
can I recommend one thing?
So much.
I told you this before. Don't teach your children to talk, because then they're going to become 16 and they're going to talk back, and eventually, my daughter is now 16, and I'm shooing everybody away. It's so infuriating. But it is amazing. I think what you're really saying here. And I think I get lost because I'm so busy every single day. There's not a second of my day that I'm not consumed. And I think when, I guess, a child is either eating or playing with their toys or what a butterfly is new to them. And I don't see anything. I'm like walking head down, moving fast, texting as I walk, calling as I walk. I mean, we don't stop like kids and see the beauty and majesty of this life.
No, that's all of us. And I wrote about her seeing rain for the first time and how in awe she was. We walked out of the apartment. Thankfully, we had scaffolding outside of our apartment. And you guys are probably not in New York, most of your listeners, but in New York, if they do work on your apartment, they put up scaffolding so that if anything falls, it doesn't fall on top of the sidewalk where people are walking. So we walked out, and there was rain just pouring down. I didn't know it was raining. I didn't have an umbrella. We stand there under the scaffolding, and she's just like, her eyes just were so wide. She was in awe of rain. And I thought, you know what? This is such a great lesson, because we walk outside when it's raining. We're like, oh, I've got to go get my umbrella. I've got to get different shoes. This is such a nightmare. It's going to ruin my hair.
That's the first thing I think of. I got to get different shoes. First thing when I go into
right.
No, but you know what? There is the wonderment, the amazement, the awe that they have. Everything is fresh and everything is new. And
yeah.
So anyway, we'll have you back when the book comes out. I think you need to write a book that says about growing up in the South and living in the city. I'm sure that there's a culture shock. I mean, at one point in my career, I lived in Alabama, and at another point, I lived in Georgia. And for me, it was a culture shock.
Yeah, Alabama. Speaking of Alabama, there's a big race there today. No, I know there is a big culture shock. But for me, New York represents all of my dreams coming true, God blessing me in a mighty way. I wanted to be here so badly when I was growing up, and I feel so fortunate. I have one foot in South Carolina and one in New York, and I love both.
And I want to get the hell out of here. That makes us on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
I don't know why. The city is so vibrant. There's,
I don't even live in the city. I'm like hardly ever here. Well, all right.
Well, you should enjoy the city more often, Sean. It's a wonderful place.
Well, congrats on the success of the show.
Thank you.
Fox and Friends co-host.
Really quickly, some of the proceeds go to Folds of Honor, military organization that gives scholarship money to the children of our fallen soldiers. So that organization is amazing, and you can find out more information about it at AinsleyEarhartBooks.com, and you can pre-order it now.
All right, we'll put it up on our website, Hannity.com. Through Your Eyes, My Child's Gift to Me. Seeing life through your kids' eyes. Ainsley, always good to talk to you. My best to Brian and Steve.
Thank you, Sean. Tell
Brian to chill. Everything's going to be okay. All right, 800-941-SEAN is our number. Quick break. Right back. We'll continue. All right, Hannity tonight, 10 Eastern. Now we have fans burning their memorabilia, their jerseys, anything known as NFL. How bad will this get? Also, the latest out of Washington and the triumphant return, Bill O'Reilly, his first appearance since leaving the Fox News Channel. Hannity, our brand new time. We hope you'll set your DVR. Tell your friends because the media wants me to fail in a huge and big way. 9 Eastern on the Fox News Channel. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tonight at 9. Back here tomorrow.